Good evening to you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening. So, I mean, with so much talk about this coalition spearheaded by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and other opposition figures. And just to continue from where I stopped in my introduction, these are the words of Mr. Oshutokun, who is a Labour Party chieftain. It says President Tinubu has the power of incumbency and will use it to his advantage if he decides to seek re-election in 2027. He went on to say if he could win an election against all odds when he was not president, you can imagine now when he's in power. So that would lead me to my first question. Is this coalition dead on arrival?
Yeah, somehow dead on arrival because they have a lot to struggle with. Because if you look at the configuration of what bring APC into emergence, that 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari won the election, it wasn't just, a combination of people who want to be in power, but people that have so much values in their own respective regions, because President Buhari consistently maintained his 10 to 12 million votes from 2003 to 2015. Whatever party he exits from and goes to another party, he goes with that kind of votes. And in 2015, in preparation to the emergence of APC, the president today came also with a block vote from his region, which is the Southwest. And this has somehow defined the political equation of this country. Some of us might be in denial, but it will stay for a long time. The equation now is Southwest and Northwest. And if you look at the block votes, is what you can say invariably produced the president in 2015. Now, if you want to look at these individuals, just like Senator Shekarau from Kano State, distinguished Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, former governor, said these are individuals who have lost out in previous election and coming together. He don't see them from making any impact that will stop the president from getting his second term. And I believe him 100%, Olajumoke, because if you look at already the biggest pillar among these coalition elements is, we can say, quote and unquote, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And then you can follow him up with, let's say, Peter Obi. And then you can say Rabiu Musa Konkoso and Malam Nasir El-Rufai. But if Atiku is joining this coalition, is he really going with the PDP organic vote? I don't see that happening. If El-Rufai, who has gone into SDP, is he really going to make any impact in Kaduna State? And if we look at the last election, there was figures that were published by the Tribune papers. 10 states that had the highest registered voters, which were Benue, Bauchi, Plateau, Delta, Oyo, Katsina, Kaduna, Lagos, Kano, and Rivers. Now, if you look at this, none of them had less than 2.5 million votes. Atiku is coming from the Northeast, and it's only Bauchi out of these 10 that came from the Northeast. Yes, you don't rule out the other states, but Bauchi had the highest registered voters in 2023, which is about 3-point-something million votes. And again, if you see from the other 9 states we are talking about today, ask yourself this question: how much has the APC consolidated in these 9 states? In Rivers and Delta State, who are the southern states in the 10 states, APC are really doing very well, because the defection of these 27 members House of Assembly in Rivers State is a clear indication that we will do very well in 2027 general election. Now, if you come back and look at the Southwest, among the 10 states, you had Lagos and Oyo from the southwestern states is still intact for Mr. President. If you come back to the Northwest, where you have Kaduna, Kano, and Katsina, yes, Vice President Atiku Abubakar won in Kaduna State, but ask yourself, the people that helped him in winning the election in Kaduna State have just moved to the APC not quite long because of their political, ideology differences with Ahmed Nasir El-Rufai. When he exited to SDP, they came back to APC and he moved out of APC and joined. And those were the people that worked for the former vice president that helped him, won Kaduna State in 2023, but now they are in the APC, meaning we have consolidated so much in Kaduna State. Kano State is for Rabiu Musa Konkoso, but again, we are doing very well because you could see a lot of movement around NMPP guys from his state coming back to the APC. And the same thing with Katsina State. So I don't see it much of a problem, but again, nobody will want to see his house leaking and he will say there's no problem. Ordinarily, there's nobody that would have loved to see these guys move out of the APC. But since they so desire to join other political parties, we are not against them. But certainly, again, we don't see them, creating much problem for Mr. President in coming back for his second term.
And it's also interesting to note that, this idea of an opposition coalition had been explored in 2015, which brought about the victory of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Despite having different ideologies, 4 parties dissolved into one. We had the CPC, ANPP, ACN, and ABGA. These parties dissolved into what became the APC. That's an idea, a strategy that had been explored and worked with. Is it strategic to explore this option again? Is it politically wise, rather, to go that route again?
The issue of, I will call it myself, morality in politics. This is like, we are having this as a deficiency in Nigeria, and I don't know if it is because of our years of democracy or because we have not been getting it right. But again, you look at whenever, typically I will tell you is what happened in this River State issue that the president declared state of emergency. Now, if you ask yourself this question, why are these people condemning when they know these things have been practiced all over the world in different countries where for some extraordinary circumstances, the federal government of every country can declare state of emergency to restore order and normalcy, but they keep condemning because they are not in the party. But you take a look at it, and that is why I'm talking about morality in politics and decency. Most of these people that are condemning, and especially those in the coalition, that the so-called coalition that is about to be formed, who were there in 2004, 2006, when President Olusegun Obasanjo declared state of emergency in Plateau State and in Ekiti State. I give you this example. In 2004, when President Olusegun Obasanjo declared state of emergency in Plateau State, Vice President Atiku Abubakar was his vice president. Was he against the government as at that time? No. In 2006, when he declared in Ekiti State, Ahmad Nasir El-Rufai was a minister in his cabinet, minister of the FCT. Did he go against the president? No. If you ask yourself, who was Konkoso at that time? He was Minister of Defense when he lost out of his second term as Governor of Kano State. The president compensated him and made him Minister of Defense. Did he go against the president? No. If you ask yourself about Peter Obi from the Labour Party, what was his position or status in the country when those things were happening at that time? He was a governor, yes, you can argue for him a little bit, hustling between impeachment and reinstatement, and maybe for that reason you can excuse him. But again, even at that time, was it that wisdom escaped him to look at what was wrong and what was right? Why didn't he talk and went against the president? So now, because they are all running after the villa and want to be president, from nowhere they are now beginning to condemn a decision that was taken to restore the confidence of Nigerians and to safeguard the life and property of the people in Rivers State, which is primarily the role of governance, and to save our economy. You are right to say we have a problem of decency and morality in our politics.
Absolutely, because I wanted to say, you talking about morality and decency in politics, isn't it ironical to put these three words together when describing Nigerian politicians or talking about Nigerian politics? But former Vice President Atiku says is unsure of his political ambition in 2027, meaning that he's uncertain that he would run for president in 2027, which also means he could change his mind any moment, even at the last minute. And I'm just curious, for someone who had taken a shot at this thrice, and some say 6 times, do you agree with those who say it's high time he stopped running and allow for fresh faces?
100%. Atiku is an elder statesman, highly respected I come from the same state with him, from the same constituency with him. My local government is just before his local government. I know so much about him, and he's a father. But again, he has given so much and he has done so much asking for this seat, but Nigerians have not deemed it necessary or looked at him as somebody that is, you know, how do I put it, desirous to be in the seat. And if he has done it about 4 to 5 times, and today he is either 78 or 79, meaning before the election will take place in 2027, he will be in his 80s. I think what is good for him is to rest, continue to mentor and shape the political, you know, structure of this country and see that governance is done the right way instead of competing, you know, with people who he has mentored from 1999, 25 or 26 years today down the line. I don't think it's healthy for him. This is just my own opinion, and I don't think it's my personal opinion. But I think he should consider
ever retire. Engineer Nuruddin.
It's not just in Nigeria, but what I'm telling you is all over the world today. President Trump in America is in his late 70s. Likewise, Biden, it was age factor, you know, that led him started having some health condition, and he was advised, but honorably he pulled out. So if Atiku Abubakar is relatively stable, if you see him today, he is healthy. But again, age doesn't lie. So if he really wants to take care of himself at old age, then I think he should forget about governance. He has given much. He was a vice president for 8 years. He has done his best for the country. Anytime he has people he can recommend to be governors in different states, particularly in his region. Because today I will tell you, it is his influence in a way that has given the current governor of Adamawa State his second term. That is not in dispute. So if he can stay back and maintain his, you know, statesmanship, I think it's better for him than to continue to raise this political office that will likely impact on his health. I don't think it's a healthy idea for him.
And I also remember that in the build-up to the 2019 election, opposition to the second-term bid of